The new season has started and there's some move changes. I personally wanted to try out Lokix with counter, so that's what I'm going to be showcasing here in today's video. Right off the gate, I'm facing, I think this is actually a confusion variant of Gardevoir, so I could have technically stayed in with Lokix being a dark type. I just wasn't sure. I was assuming it was going to be Charm. And I safe swap into my Shadow Feraligatr. And I make a good call not to shield. I barely live with like a little bit of HP from the Icy Wind. I get both shields on Abomasnow, so I'm really liking this scenario I'm currently in. I'll bring back in Lokix, and I'm just going to try to farm down. I figured they'd just throw an Icy Wind, thinking I'm going to shield. So I took the damage, and I'm going to commit a shield on the second one. And in comes Weather Ball. So it is Weather Ball Icy Wind. Doesn't really matter to figure that out at this point in the fight. In comes the Annihilate. I'm going to insta-swap into Emolga, which is my closer on the line currently. I'm using Feraligatr as my designated safe swap. It's a pretty good safe swap overall in Great League. And yeah, I just acrobatic the Annihilate, remove it, and from here I can kind of just take a move because I already have energy loaded on Lokix. So yeah, I get a win here in the very first battle. GG's to my opponent. And if you're watching this video, I more than likely had in my thumbnail that I went 13-2 with this team. So personally, I think there's some interesting battles to showcase in these sets, but Lokix feels really difficult to utilize currently in the way the meta is developed early season, and I think out of all the options you have for a counter user, or even like a bug or a dark type, there's definitely better options to pick here in the format. But I'm a huge fan of bug type Pokemon, and I really wanted to try this out since I don't think I've ever had the desire to use this competitively so far in Pokemon Go. And yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting. I was initially had some different thoughts how I would approach the meta, but typically when I'm building a team, I like to reference PvPoke a little bit to try to see if I'm not seeing something properly. So this was the team I came up with early season, first day of the move changes actually being implemented in the game. I did live stream day one. If you're curious, you can check that out here on my channel. I think I'll put the link in the description if you're interested. But I did run some crazy spice in the Ultra League premiere. I was thinking about making a video of it, but it doesn't really matter. You can always check the live stream VOD if you're really interested to see some spicy battles with Wishcash in the Ultra League before Scald got nerfed. But yeah, this next batch I got a really great lead with Empoleon, and they switch in Exeggutor. I thought it was really interesting, very spicy. Honestly, this could have gone bad if, like, I don't really have a great way to deal with it in the backline. I guess with Shadow Claw and Feraligatr, I probably could have done enough damage there, but it did actually kind of scare me a little bit. Oh wait, no, it was this at the end that frightened me because I didn't have a great answer for Excadrill, and I was assuming Excadrill would outpace Feraligatr if I stayed in. So I was hoping to catch a drill run, and whenever they didn't throw the move right away, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna get smacked with a rock slide now, and they didn't. And I was actually I was shocked that drill run did that much damage to Emolga. I mean, I'm a flying, I know I'm electric type, but I'm also a flyer. So yeah, that was crazy. I was like, whoa, this Pokemon. For some reason I was thinking Emolga would be a little bit more bulky. I mean, granted, mine's not optimized IVs for Great League. I don't know, I was kind of shocked. So next battle, Dragon Breath Charizard. And I technically could have maybe stayed in a little bit with Lokix. It's not ideal. I guess the way I was looking at it was, even no matter what the fast attack is, my back line's pretty good against Charizard. So I insta-swap into Feraligatr. They bring in Shiftry. And in this scenario, I was thinking, wow, that's kind of crazy that I could have connected. I think I could have connected the Ice Beam there, the first. Yeah. Kind of crazy. But, sometimes that's like a really great call to make. And at this point, though, I was really confused what happened, because they end up bringing Obstagoon in on the Lokix instead of Charizard to realign the battle. So that was kind of strange. I don't know if they knew that Lokix has counter, as a fast attack. I mean, Bug and Fighting is just not really a great combo to be dealing against with Obstagoon. But yeah, from here, I am able to just pull off the win with Emolga, going for Discharge. I don't really use this Pokemon that often. I don't even remember what I built this for initially. I'm sure... Actually, you know, there was a format. I don't remember if it was a Flying Cup. I think it may have been Flying Cup, actually, that I used this in. Alright, next battle. I do get a Vigoroth, which was kind of interesting to see how this plays out. It does look like... I'm sure Vigoroth outpace... Yeah, it does outpace Lokix, but this is interesting because I am doing more damage. I just decided to let my Lokix go here and try to get some farm down. But as you can see, not necessarily the most optimal play on my end because I can't really farm down fast enough. And I maybe should have just shielded with my Lokix. But I guess having all the energy is still kind of nice. They do have Swampert. And because they have Swampert and Skarmory back and they have the energy, it does end up working out in my favor because I can really pressure Skarmory here with damage from Feraligatr. And pretty much I just have to survive against this matchup. I think I just farm down. I mean, yeah, of course I could farm down after getting that shield. And because I win CMP, it doesn't really matter if Swampert had a move locked or not. I'm going to be able to win the CMP and just smack it with a Hydro. So that was really... A lot of these matches actually are still so close. It really just comes down to favorable energy. It's kind of crazy. I mean, it does seem a little spicy, the line. I mean, you know me, I like to run some crazy spice. It's far more satisfying to pull off wins running spice, but this battle, Azumarill is not a great lead for me. I am going to bring in Feraligatr as a safe swap, and a lot of times these type of teams that lead Azumarill don't have great answers for a Shadow Feraligatr. That's what it feels like, at least. So, as you can tell, they feel the optimal play is to stay in on the Feraligatr, and honestly, Feraligatr is pretty insane in this matchup, even though I'm... Excuse me, sorry for hitting the desk there with my foot. Even though I switched in Feraligatr, I'm still putting so much pressure on Azumarill that it has to commit the shields. And from here, I guess they were thinking they could catch Hydro on from Feraligatr, but now I just threw Ice Beam, completely remove Altaria, which is really good for me. In comes the Vigoroth, and I knew I could live just the Body Slam barely, and I can just use X-Scissor and counter down, and from here, I have a Emolga left. I could just bring in Feraligatr and just tank a move and get a lot of damage down with Shadow Claw, but this is also fine because an Ice Beam isn't going to be enough to KO or one-shot Emolga at that health, so I can just barely live and get that discharge off to secure victory. In the next battle, I get Frigibax, or Arctibax, excuse me, lead. And this is good for our Lokix as well, since the counter damage is racking up here. I decided to commit the shield because I don't want to be hit with Dragon Claw. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this can get Avalanche and Icy Wind. Icy Wind could have been a good call if they were running it there, just because it does weaken the counter damage a bit. But in comes the Quagsire, and I guess I could have went for a Dark Pulse, but yeah, I just figured regardless, damage is damage or a shield is a shield. And they do end up shielding, which is nice. Get that shield. They have no shields left, which means Feraligatr has a really great scenario here. For whatever reason, I played this extremely risky. I could have just switched into Emolga on the Victory Bell and been in a much safer scenario. But I decided to stay and go for the Ice Beam because I knew I could just barely get to it. And here, I don't know why. No, I thought they were going to bait me. But they don't bait me, and I actually died, and I thought, oh my gosh, am I about to lose now? Did I throw this match? I barely got to the Hydro and still win. That was insane. There's 2 moments in that match that I just completely almost threw the game. And I shouldn't have put it... It should have come down that close is ultimately what I'm trying to get at. So pretty insane. Another Azumarill situation, as you'll see. Kind of playing it the same way as the previous one, even though I'm switching in, they decide to stay in on the Feraligatr. and try to play the matchup. I'm assuming that Feraligatr with energy just really scares some of these teams. I highly recommend this Pokemon as a safe swap. It's really good. I'm sure it does great in Ultra League as well, but yeah, it puts on a lot of pressure, even with just like Shadow Claw alone. So in comes the Swampert, which as you can see, you know, makes sense why they're doing things the way they are, but it is a little scary still because I wasn't entirely sure at this moment if Lokix has the capacity to take a Hydro Cannon from a Shadow Swampert. I mean, Lokix is not the best defensive stats, but I feel like it has some okay bulk. It's a little, it can, for what it is, it can take a hit occasionally. So I got very lucky there, and in the back line is a Skarm. So again, the Skarmory is going to have to throw Brave Bird if it even wants to dream of removing Emolga here. And yeah, even though it does that, it's still super close because they do have Azumarill in the back. I'm going to have to discharge the Azu. Unfortunately for me, it comes down very narrow victory with a counter into Skarmory in the end. Rimbombi, very interesting Pokemon. This person, I'm not entirely sure if they're like a new player, if they're just trying to run something very unique and spicy, but yeah, this was a very unique line. Seeing this, I don't think I've ever seen this Pokemon being used currently in the Great League or any format, honestly, but yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. But then as you'll see as the battle plays out slightly, it does seem like complete spice. I mean, Lilligant, how often do you see Lilligant? Not that often. I throw the Hydro, they do shield, because I'm assuming they may have thought it could have been Ice Beam, or maybe they're thinking, maybe it still does a significant amount of damage. In the back is the Poipole, is that what it's called? And I just throw a Dark Pulse, and I decided to bring in Emolga. Honestly, I had no idea. I don't even know what this thing gets in Pokemon Go. I legitimately never looked at it beyond the quest line that we're working on. But yeah, pretty much it's just GG. I could have just went for Discharge, but I figured they didn't have a way to really remove Emolga at this point. So that's GG. Also, I just wanted to mention Lokix. I'm running counter Dark Pulse Exeter. That is the recommendation on PB Poke. And there is a part, it does get access to Trailblaze. And there is a part of me that wants to entertain the idea of running Trailblaze as the bait move in some scenarios where you know they're going to shield, and getting an attack boost to counter could help flip that matchup better. Also, Trailblaze into some of these matchups, as you saw, there's a lot of like Mud Boys, a lot of water type Pokemon still in the format. Trailblaze could be a decent option to actually be able to hit those Pokemon. I mean, not that the Mud Boys are the worst case there. It's mainly like Azumarill I'm thinking of. But I don't know if it's worth it, because in that scenario, I feel like Lokix will get walled by other things. You know, it already struggles with certain things just due to its typing and move coverage. But is Trailblaze better in some scenarios? Potentially. Maybe there's going to be like a more narrow meta throughout the season, or maybe even in a future season where Lokix might have more niche play. Maybe in factions or some sort of, I don't know if people do like draft leagues for Go or anything like that, but maybe Lokix could find some value. I don't think it's that bad. I don't know. It's unique, I guess is the best way to say it. I mean, as you can see, I'm doing alright here. I mean, isn't that another, yeah, it's a 2 5-0s if I'm not mistaken, which I was really surprised to do that well. The lag in this game is a little unfortunate. I actually stopped, if you're a subscriber to my channel and you're wondering where I was the past couple of weeks, I pretty much just took the rest of the season off. I don't really like Catch Cup. I did play it slightly. I talked about this at the beginning of my one live stream that I was discussing earlier, my most recent one. I was just saying I was running Complete Spice, and I did have battles, I just never made the video. And yeah, honestly, the big reason was the lag in the game for Android users is really just doesn't make the game really that fun to play. Like, I don't really like losing to lag out of anything in the game. I mean, it's okay to get hard countered occasionally and such. That's just the game. But when I lose the lag, when I'm actually playing, like I generate 2 moves, for example, and I die when my HP is that low, when I could have lived due to a spurt, like a lag spurt, I don't like that. I find that to be, it's already so difficult to just maintain a positive win rate playing the game the way I like to play. I mean, just playing it in general, but trying to play it a little bit more spicy. I can't afford to get losses that are just out of my control. But yeah, for the most part, early season is the best time to get in and experiment. And that's pretty much what I was doing with this team. I don't know if I would run this team again. I have considered running this after today's video and also potentially trying Trailblaze on Lokix. But, you know, it's hard to really know. There's a lot of variety in these sets, so I guess ultimately I'm not entirely sure if, as the battles get more difficult, if this is going to be a Pokemon that brings much value to the team. I'm running Emolga too, and that in itself can also feel slightly one-dimensional at times. I think Feraligatr is just insanely good. It could be potentially the MVP on this team, but yeah, I don't know. I live with the Aqua Tail here barely and win the switch, and this card bank, oh my gosh. This match was kind of crazy. I was thinking, you know, honestly that's bad, but it could be worse. And then they bring in Ferrothorn, and I was hoping I'd get a shield here, and I do, fortunately. So from here I'm like, this is not going to be that great for me. I'm going to get hit with the rock throw damage pretty hard over time. I don't know if I can generate enough energy to win against the Carbink. So from here, it's a matter of, I'm just going to take the move, and I have to try to get a little bit more farm down on Feraligatr to get ahead in energy. So I'm definitely looking at this like, okay, I need 3 Hydros to be able to win this match. This is already like down to the wire, and look how close this gets. I knew they wouldn't be able to throw 2 moves here. It was just a matter of if I was able to get to double Hydro. And fortunately, I am able to just barely do that, because even with that last move throwing, the rock throw is not enough damage to knock me out, and I barely live 1 HP in a dream, and I take down that Carbink. That was kind of crazy, honestly, but this is a great lead. I mean, I resist the Shadow Claw damage, plus I'm smacking it hard with counter. They bring in Mantine, and I didn't really need to throw this move. Honestly, there's really no need to do that. I could have just banked that move. I guess I was thinking they might shield. I could have just banked that move entirely and just brought in Emolga, but because of the scenario I was in, I decided to risk it for the biscuit and not shield, which could have, you know, losing switch in Open Greatly can pretty much just make you lose the game, especially in this scenario where I have pretty good alignment already to start. So I decided just to let, you know, even though my Emolga's gone, I'm just going to try to look at this scenario as, well, even with Feraligatr, I can kind of threaten with the Hydro Cannon. So tried to get a little bit of energy there. Crazy, I make some crazy calls here. I knew more than likely it was going to be Night Slash, and I had a feeling I would be able to just barely live. I do live. I connect the Dark Pulse because they obviously didn't want to shield, or I'm going to smack their Sand Slash or Annihilate with a Hydro upon coming in. And from there, I'm able to just farm down the Annihilate with Shadow Claw, and I'm able to have the 2 Hydros ready to remove Sand Slash. So this set was definitely getting more difficult overall with my opponents. So pretty bad lead here with the Crocolar, and I'm going to switch in my Shadow Feraligatr. So they actually stay in here, which I was kind of wondering what the reasoning was here. I guess maybe they don't. Similar with like the Azumarill, I feel like their backline didn't really want to deal with the Feraligatr. So even though this is not the best matchup for them, I feel like they've played this match, like the way that played out, it seems like they have some experience in that type of matchup, and they did that very intentionally, and I think it does end up paying off for them here in the end of the battle. So yeah, I just try to do as much damage as possible as I can to Crest before I get removed. And I bring in my Lokix again. I was a little scared to get smacked by a Moonblast, so I do kind of preemptively throw that move. and they bring in Skarmory. And in this situation, I could have played this slightly different, I think. I think what I could have done... you know what? This is actually kind of interesting. I guess I could have... Technically, I could have... If I didn't throw the discharge, I could have made it to the acrobatics through that. Ensured I removed Croconaw, that way I didn't take any damage from it. And then potentially we could have done something here because Skarmory more than likely would have had to use Brave Bird to remove Emolga. So, I mean, honestly, I think there was still play there. It just kind of came down to those small little nuances in the battle. Next battle, definitely pretty bad scenario for me with Altaria lead. I don't have like the best answer for it on this team. I mean, I have ways to deal with it, just not efficiently or consistently even. So I bring in Feraligatr. I do get the double shield, which is significant, but like I said, I don't really have a great way to smack this Pokemon. Even though I do have Emolga, the electric moves are neutral. So yeah, pretty much I have to take a move and try to generate some energy, but even the Dragon Breath damage over time is just ending up to be too much for me. I can remove the Altaria finally, and in comes Azumarill. Unfortunately, at this point, I switched in Lokix so I can farm down a little bit for extra energy, but honestly, even with my HP on Emolga, I wasn't going to be able to do much in this scenario. I would have just become pretty much like farm bait. I would have been able to get one discharge off potentially, then just been farmed down, and pretty much just Ozzy would have just play roughed into Lokix for the win anyways. So yeah, GG's to all my opponents. That's definitely going to be the GG. I do try to throw a move still, but I'm trying to remember what it had in the back. I guess we'll see here real quick. Oh yeah, Swampert. So yeah, it was kind of like, yeah, there's nothing I'm going to be able to do there. Pretty good team, honestly, for dealing with mines particularly. But yeah, those are the battles. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this, and definitely consider subscribing. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the Sass Squad is getting stronger each and every day. Have a good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you're tuning in. I'll catch you in the next one. And if you want to check out more GBL content from me, consider watching this video right here, or this video right here.